That's some good music right there, Travis.
It's definitely not bad.
Most definitely not. Man, that's some good music right there. Great
Thank you.
evening. Hey, do you know that audience there? That artist there?
I
Powerful
do.
man. All
I
right.
do.
Great. You do.
I do.
All right. All right. Well, great evening, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Moments of Motivation with Michelle. My God, I'm so excited tonight. Number one, because it's been such a long time, at least it seemed like it, since we've been on here. And tonight, I'm also excited about our guest that we have tonight who is joining us, Mr. Travis Bridges. I hope and pray that you all have been doing well, you and your family. And so listen, thank you for joining with us. Make sure you like, tag, and share this broadcast tonight. Also, make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Moments of Motivation with Michelle. So, Mr. Travis,
That would be
man,
me. Hi.
what'd you say now?
I said that would be me.
That that will be you. Excited to have you with us tonight. And I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for accepting the invitation to join us. And I also would like to say that I have someone else who just tipped in and he wanted to be a part of the broadcast tonight. It's been a long time since he's been with us. So I guess we'll allow Mr. Jawan to have a seat with me on the couch.
What's up, guys?
Y'all, there he is. He's back. He's been on a sabbatical. I don't know. Where you been, Juwan?
Finishing up school. So, y'all, I'll be graduating, praise the Lord, on May. Oh, you gotta put me in.
Okay, give me a minute, Juwan. Stop messing.
On May 22nd. So, send all your cash apps and love offerings to
Juwan, I'm sorry, but the show is not
J-Lo.
about you tonight. The show is about Travis.
My bad.
Did you see him trying to take a plug off of your show?
There's plenty. Allow him to have a little bit.
Besides,
he's graduating. He deserves about 22 more seconds. Go.
He gave you 22 more seconds. Go ahead.
What I say? But I can send in my Cash App and PayPal and Zelles after the show. It'll probably be on the after party. Okay.
You know, the thing about it is, I told Juwan I was going to give him space to do all of this on the after party. But no, he wants to take your spotlight and take your shine tonight,
Yeah, there's plenty.
Fast.
There's plenty. There's more. That's enough. You can have it.
All right. So, Travis, what's been going on with you?
Oh, my God. We need like 6 more hours to go, but I'll give you the short version of that. I've been busy recovering from the big hit from COVID.
Right.
As you know, as a musician, it's been a little tough. Everything stopped, and for about 8-9 months, I had zilch. So within the first month of that, I decided to live stream myself. So I started doing Sunday nights. I called it the COVID concert series.
Right.
And Sunday nights at 9 o'clock, I was going live with my saxophone. And that worked out pretty good, and it was going very well. I did a spinoff from that I started on Wednesday night. It's called Swim Poem. That's an acronym for Say What You Mean and Play What You Mean.
Okay.
So it's just more like a talk format where I bring awareness to communication styles, how we listen, how we pay attention. So in addition to that, I'm working on my 3rd CD project, which will be in production probably about the 1st of July. I will be writing a book. and officially taking some foreign language. I haven't decided yet, but that's what's on the horizon for me.
Okay, awesome. So Travis, one of the things that I would like to start with is for you to introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you from. Just give us a little bit about your background. I know that you love football. You used to play football. We know that you play the saxophone or whatever, but just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to go into our questions for this evening.
Well, I'll start off with the football. When we talk about football, I'm going to pass that one on to my son, because by the time I was in the 11th grade, I was done with football. I did pretty good up until, but by the time I was in the 11th grade, I was also playing in a band, driving a school bus, and working at a supermarket. So I had 3 jobs, and I thought money was much more important than my athletic career, particularly at that time. So I kind of gave football up early. I had maybe 1 or 2 regrets, but I pursued my music degree. Anyway, I am Travis Bridges, and I'm from your home state of North Carolina, Laurinburg to be exact. My background is in radio. From my home studio, I write script, I voice radio spots, I produce audio for TV. And at nights and weekends, I go and moonlight as a smooth jazz saxophonist / audio technician. And I have a degree in criminal justice, which I may have used about maybe a half a time in life. And that's it. I'm a father, a brother, an uncle, a citizen. There you go.
All right. So Travis, how did you get started playing the saxophone, or what introduced you to the jazz genre?
Well, it started in 4th grade. Before 5th grade, they would allow students to go and decide what they would take as extracurricular activities for the 5th grade coming up. So I remember the day like it was yesterday. We went into the cafeteria at South Scotland Elementary School. And as I walked into the cafeteria, I wasn't sure what was going on. I just thought we were going to something special. As I turned the corner, I saw the front of the stage lined with so many different instruments. And they had given us a few weeks before that that was after that. That was after that. So anyway, I remember going around the corner and seeing all these instruments on stage. And the one that stood out the most was the saxophone. It was just the way it looked. Many people are inspired by musicians, and I was inspired after I started playing by several. But even as a 4th grader, 9-year-old kid, I just looked around the corner and I saw that instrument sitting there. And in my heart, I was like, I think that's me right there. So I was inspired pretty much by the look and the shape of it. It just looked like it would fit me best.
Okay, I love that. I remember being in one of your sessions, and you called it what, saxy?
No, I didn't call it that. I said someone else may have called it that, but I didn't. I don't call it that. It's a saxophone. Okay. And I'll leave it there.
Okay, we'll leave it right there then. Yeah. So, did you have any family members who played instruments?
Well, my middle sister started out on the piano, and after she got going and was kind of sort of downhill, we could kind of see that as a whole family. So it's like, well, why don't we try to catch that momentum? So my youngest sister and myself, we started taking piano lessons, and it just didn't catch on with any of us. So no one took music lessons at all. My mother could harmonize pretty well, though. But by the time I got into the 4th grade, I thought, okay, this is another shot at music. And I don't know what that thing is on the stage up there, but if I get the opportunity to play it, I'm gonna stick with that one.
Right.
So no, family members were musicians.
Okay. One of the things that, we were looking at even right before we started, we're looking at some of your older pictures and listening to your music. And, across the globe, of course, a lot of people having, struggles with weight loss, having struggles with weight. And man, sitting there looking at you tonight, you look super amazing. And I just want to know if you can, share with, those of us who may be having some issues with weight loss, being consistent, finding a program that worked. Could you share with us what are some of the things that you did that worked for you?
Well, I'll start by saying that I am amongst those people who still struggle. I am convinced that, there's just a gene in some people that is just going to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be as hard and it's not easier for others. But I'm still amongst that group. I was at one time 412 pounds.
Wow.
And even at 412 pounds, I was still active. But I knew that as I got older, I was going to have to make some changes. I was always hard on myself. I was always, I had self-esteem issues and confidence, issues. And I knew it was directly related to two things: my weight and my pocket finances. So I just decided that after my son went away to college, that I would start to do something. So a year or two passed by and I was trying and didn't do anything. So by the time he got to his third year of college, I'm thinking, I only have a year to do what I said I was going to do 2 years ago. So I started searching for more ways, and I was introduced to juicing by a really good friend of mine. And I tried it, and it was good because at that time, I was juicing stuff that I liked. And what I was getting, although I was getting quite a bit more sugar than I probably should have then, it was a whole lot better than the fries and burgers and cookies and candy. So I made a change then. And then I started, juicing vegetables and all kinds of stuff. And I think that was the beginning. When I started juicing, that was the initial, what is the word I'm looking for? That was the start of, the weight getting off. Of course, when I stopped juicing, I put 50 of the 113 pounds that I took off right back on right away. So it's been an up and down struggle. I think right now I'm still maintaining, and how I maintain now is just being conscious of, what I eat, making sure that I do get some exercise. I've never mind going into the gym. So to this day, I will get at least one exercise in a day, sometimes two. And it's just being mindful, being aware that, first of all, you have that gene, because I hate those skinny people that can eat anything. So I'm sure, as perfect as our creator is, there's something he threw in the mix of some people that's just, have a little, more difficult time to keeping weight off and, remaining healthy. But I believe if we are conscious and we are aware that we can do better if we just make the effort and stay consistent.
Did you find that having the extra weight on was an issue with you playing your instrument?
I did, but I didn't notice it until after I lost it and started back picking it up again. Because as I lost the weight, I guess my momentum started going in and I was just killing everything. I could see it. But then after I reached a certain point and I started picking it back up, and I was like, wow, something's different. I could feel it. My clothes were getting tighter and I could feel it then. So no, I don't recall ever having any major issues, because maybe I was younger. But no, it wasn't too bad, but there was definitely a difference in how my clothes felt and my level of confidence, how I felt in front of people, and even just, being a musician. So it wasn't a discomfort physically, but it was emotionally and psychologically.
It's amazing to hear you say that you had confidence issues, because you're very outspoken. You're always said something that's out over the top, making people laugh. And to hear you say that you struggled, emotionally and having confidence issues, that's amazing to hear, and to see you sitting here today. So how do you overcome that still, on this journey in life of being a saxophone player and being in front of a lot of people?
Well, I learned something, I'm going to say, within the past 3 to 5 years totally. But within the last 3 years, for sure, I had a little meeting with myself. I was going through some really tough times, and I knew that something, had to change. So I couldn't afford to sit on the couch with a therapist, because I couldn't afford that. So I started doing some research, and I began to look at myself, look in the mirror, and I began to be a whole lot more aware of my own responsibilities, why I was the way I was. And it's a process. Maybe we can do, another live stream on just that. But I started to take responsibility, for what I could do, to make changes. So I think from childhood, we have what they call in the psychology world, traumas that are, not addressed will then later affect triggers.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do with those traumas is we build a wall, in order to, as a defense. And we don't really realize that we're building a wall. We just start, I guess, existing and learning how to go through society. But it's, something that's always been inside. Weight and finances has always been, an issue for me. And I'm kind of getting off the subject. I'm trying to wind myself back down to your specific point, and I'll do that by saying
you're doing great.
I think it's just a natural. All animals, have a way to protect themselves, and subconsciously, due to traumas, we find a way to protect ourselves so that we can survive on our own. But later in life, they find a way to come out, and we have to do, as if I could be spiritual for just one moment, we have a prodigal moment where we come to ourselves and we find out, well, what happened? How do I get to who I really am? And then you start shaking off some of the things that you were told, that you believe, that you didn't investigate on your own. And to make a very long story short, because I can go, you have to stop me if you need to. I just decided to do a thorough examination of myself. Things that I knew were true for me is what I started to gravitate to, and things that I really didn't believe and didn't accept, I just sort of let go. And it's just like anything else. The more you let it go, the lighter you become, and the more light you are, the more free you are. So at this very point, I let not just 113 pounds of body fat, but psychological, mental, and emotional fat too. So I'm just at a place now where I don't think I've arrived. I don't think I'm at my very best, but I'm in a place that I'm okay. And I can look at myself in the mirror and sleep at night and be comfortable knowing that I'm doing what I believe is truly best for me, and it's not based on, things that may have happened in the past or what someone else is forcing me to believe or accept.
Right. That's good, Travis. And thank you for being transparent and sharing that with us. So I've experienced Milk and Honey, your CD, and the Horn of Plenty, and I can honestly say that I am a fan, and you know that I'm a fan. Your sound is very distinctive. It's very smooth. And I'm going to read this because I'm serious about what I'm saying. I mean, anyone can sit back and relax. You can dance. You can meditate. You can sing. Like he's saying, you bring the Lord in. You can worship the Lord and just have a nice time on a date with someone listening to your music. It's just that good. And so again, I was going to ask you to tell me about who or what influenced your music or your music choices. I know you told me you were influenced when you went to the gym, but when you make your selection in terms of the music that you play or the music that you create, what influences you?
When I first recorded the original CD, I just wanted to get something on the books. I just thought it was something that I was supposed to do as a musician, leave something behind. And I didn't want to just be a musician all those years and not leave something official behind. So all I wanted to do was just to say that I had recorded a project. And I did record a project that was never released. It was all inspirational tunes, and I still have a copy of that. When people ask for it, I just give it away free because it was just a test. But then that first CD I recorded just for the books. And when I listened to it in a couple of years after that, I realized, whoa, that's not who I am. That's not the musician I am today. I wanted to build on that. And then I had some experience with the first project, so I figured I'd do the second one. And it's like, okay, now a couple of years has gone by. Gosh, that's not who I am. And you'll listen to your old stuff, and it's like, oh man, I play that so different now. It's not what I do. It's not who I am. So now, since 2012, I've been working on a third CD, which is why I'm taking off to get away from everything and everybody to actually record that. I think what's motivating me on this particular one is all the things that brought me to this very second that I'm in front of this camera and talking to you. It has to do with expressing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what's motivating me to do a third project is because I believe I have something inside me to express and to share. And all those things you mentioned that music does,
Yes.
I will keep in mind. I've had those experiences myself where music has been like a good buddy, a good pal, a friend, and I realize I'm fortunate to have the gift to be able to express myself through music. I don't take it for granted at all. But to answer your question, what's motivating me now moving forward is I believe it's my duty. I have the gift to be able to share and give music, and it would just not be cool if I just kept it to myself. Even when I go out and I play gigs, people pay me for the work that I do, but I give the music away for free. And I think it's just like a tree was designed to give fruit and to give oxygen and to shade and all that. As a musician, I'm here to give comfort and peace and fun and excitement and romance, all those things you mentioned. So I'm just kind of answering the call and doing what I believe is I'm purposed to do with that chip, that gift that's inside of me. So I'm motivated to just give back based on what's been given to me.
So there's one thing that we did not say, and I want to make sure that I ask as it relates to music. A lot of people say that music has a healing agent, or it's a healing agent. Even in the Bible, when Saul was doing what he was doing, they was taking the music and calming him down. Do you believe that music has a healing property to it?
Absolutely, unequivocally, beyond a shadow of a doubt. It is definitely a healing agent. It's sound, it's frequency, it's vibration.
Yes.
And it has a way. I heard a speaker say so eloquently just the other day. He said, music is the cheapest way to decorate the house without moving the furniture. When I heard that, I said, God almighty knows.
God
No one
almighty
knows what God almighty knows is, but it's a Carolina thing. But when I heard that, I was like, oh man, every song I play from now on, I'm going to keep that in mind. So to answer your question, yes, music is definitely healing because it changes the energy and the atmosphere. And if a person is open to anything, it's just like the sun. Some people say, I don't want to get in the sun because I'll get sunburn or whatever. Everything that's natural has the ability to heal. So yes, music is definitely healing. And that is every time I put that horn in my hand or every time I speak. Even when I speak to people, I know that my voice has the ability to have a rhythm to it. So I try to be pleasant in my tone, unless you make me mad. But no. and even then, I kind of bounce back, pretty quick. So yes, music does have the ability to change the atmosphere. And if a person is open to healing and feeling better, they can definitely receive it through different genres and frequencies and pitches and tones and volumes of music.
Yes. So Travis, who would you say is one of the greatest artists out here now?
That we need another day for that too. I have nothing but love and respect for Gerald Albright. I mean, he is definitely the master of the saxophone. As a youngster and a musician, I thought Grover Washington Jr. couldn't be stopped. And to this day, I have great respect for him. Richard Elliott and Dave Koz, those guys are great. I mean, there's so many, and those are mainstream guys. I don't not mainstream, progressive. Is it mainstream or progressive? Progressive. I'm a fan of straight ahead jazz, traditional jazz, but I'm more of a fan of modern jazz. So those guys I just named are guys that I can definitely relate to. So again, to answer that question, I would say Gerald Albright is the guy that I would go to. If I could pick his brain for about a month, I'd rob him of all of his gifts and put it with mine. And, I just make a whole new musical monster. So Gerald Albright is my go-to guy.
Okay. So, in Hamlet, North Carolina, we have Mr. John Coltrane.
No doubt.
And it gives me great honor, being from Laurinburg to hear what you're doing, to see what you're doing. You're making waves, and a lot of people may not know that because I had not seen you in years until I heard your music, and I reached out to you. You came down and you played at my party, and it was super. And I had people reach out to me when I posted the other day, and said, is that the Travis Bridges who was at your birthday party? And I said, yes, that is him. But John Coltrane, you know, hands down is one of the best saxophonists, jazz players there is around. There was around. And I was reading about him, and unfortunately his life was cut off soon, too soon. We now have a mural of him in Hamlet. And I thought to myself, I need to tell people in Laurinburg to go check that out so they can do something with Travis, because hey, Travis is from Laurinburg, North Carolina. So tell us, where are you at right now playing music?
Well, I am in Hollywood, Florida. I moved to South Florida, Miami, actually, in '91. That's where I've been since. Hollywood is more of the suburbs of South Florida. So I picked a nice, easy, cool spot. I lived in Hallandale and Tamarack, a few other places around, but I've been in Hollywood for quite some time. And that's where I am for right now. I do plan on going abroad for a few months to work on that music and that book that I was just telling you about. But right now I am in Hollywood, Florida, and every opportunity that I can get to play, whether it's a wedding, a special event, a party, you know, I'll take it. And weddings are my specialty. I enjoy playing for people who are uniting and just adding the anointment. Can I use that word? I'm just to be able to pour into the lives of people who are making such a big spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional commitment. When someone hires me to do that, it's an honor. So anywhere I can play, particularly local, I'll take it. So South Florida.
South Florida. Your music is, again, it's just amazing. Those of you who are just joining us, we're on tonight with Mr. Travis Bridges. He's a jazz player, saxophonist. One of the questions that someone did tell me to ask you, or asked me to ask you, was this: is should we get rid of genres or just let people play music? And before you answer, I'm going to say this to you. I went to Asheville, North Carolina, and they have what you call a drum circle. Have you heard of the drum circle?
I have not.
Okay, so what the drum circle is, it's a place where anyone who can beat any kind of drum, they unite, they come together from different walks of life, rich, poor, black, white, young, old, whatever, and they just play the music. They're not playing any particular song. They just start playing. And it's so beautiful to hear what all of these people unite together, what the music makes. So one of the persons asked me to ask you, do you think we should get away from genres, or should people just play music and play what they feel?
Well, if you have a special event like what you just said, a drum circle, and then you explained it, I kind of imagine that as a type of ritual or something special, you know, unique, like you would do on a certain holiday or annually or monthly or whatever. But I think getting rid of genres would be like getting rid of stoplights and signs on the highway. You kind of want to know where you're going. And although A flat in country is an A flat in acid rock, you know, a B flat in gospel is a B flat in bluegrass clogging music. So you have those intervals of music that, you know, from one degree to the next that cannot be changed.
Right.
However, it's just like, you know, you have different types of trees. A banana tree is not going to produce a mango. And sometimes I like to have a banana every now and then. I'd like to have a mango. So to just say, no, we're going to make all fruit taste the same, or we're going to have, you know, every fruit be just one fruit, right, is kind of like that. So no, I think genres is like a guide and a direction. And, you know, if I'm about to be romantic, I don't think I want to hear acid rock. Or if I need to be inspired, I don't think I want to hear, you know, gangster rap. Mm-hmm. However, if if I need inspiration, I would like to hear some smooth jazz or some inspirational, even gospel music. So to get rid of the genres would be like taking away, you know, the flavors. I'm going to go to the ice cream parlor and I just want only vanilla. Would you like some rum? So we don't have rum raisin anymore, sir. Just vanilla. I think I would get tired of it really quick. So no, genres are necessary. It's a sign of organization and direction. So no, let's don't get rid of genres unless we're going to keep smooth jazz, top 40 R&B, inspirational, some rock and roll, some reggae. If we can keep those, maybe.
And no bluegrass music while you're trying to be romantic. It does not work.
Well, it may work for some people.
Somebody though.
Not for me though.
Right. I can't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. So, Mr. Travis, how many different types of saxophones are there?
Woo, man. Well, let me tell you the ones that I'm familiar with first, and then I'll go into the ones that I've heard of and probably will never see. Alto, tenor, and soprano are my primary instruments. I play more alto, but I prefer to play tenor. I will play soprano if I need to, but I'm just not my favorite of the three. However, you know, there's a bari sax and there's a contrabass sax, there's a C melody sax, there's a straight and curved soprano sax. And that's what I'm going to leave it there.
Okay.
There are some other horns that people have experimented with, but if I had to, talk about the mainstream horns in terms of saxophones that you will hear and probably see in a normal lifetime, would be the alto, tenor, and soprano, and the bari sax for the most part. So those four would be the main. The contrabass is a whole different monster from what I understand, but alto, tenor, soprano, and bari sax are the primary four that I have some experience with.
As we were preparing for today, last week, we got into an argument because someone saw the soprano sax, and I was trying to say this is a soprano sax. And I remember you talking to us about this when you had came before. And someone said, no, that's a clarinet. I said, no, that's a soprano saxophone. Could you explain the difference between a soprano sax and a clarinet? I did look that up myself, but could you please explain the difference?
Well, a soprano sax, the sound of the soprano sax is totally different. And I'm going to either date myself or expose my intelligence here. Clarinet is in B flat and soprano sax is also in B flat. The clarinet is much smaller and is usually used in orchestras and Dixie jazz, where the saxophone is usually, smooth jazz, and even some R&B stuff. But the bigger difference, I think, is just the look within itself.
Look, it's so
bigger.
pretty.
It's just, it's the same shape as a clarinet.
Right.
But it's, the sound, you can't do the same thing on a clarinet as you can on the saxophone. Similar, but not the same at all. And if I would say the biggest difference in a soprano sax and the clarinet would definitely be the look and the sound. It doesn't even look like a clarinet, a saxophone. It doesn't sound the same. It's not as small as a clarinet. So I hope that helped.
Yeah, the colors and the keys are different as well. And
yeah, and you have to cover up the holes on a clarinet, and where saxophone, you just press the buttons, and they have tone holes that are covered up by the pads as opposed to your fingers.
Okay. So how has the pandemic affected your business? You hit on it a little bit earlier. What have you done to adjust and readjust during this pandemic?
Well, I'll tell you like this. The pandemic hit me real hard. It stopped everything. And before you know it, I had 5 weddings that got canceled all in the same couple of weeks' time. All that money that was coming to me was just hard to see walk out the door. However, I managed to get through those 8 or 9 months. And I'm going to tell you right now, that devil took from me, but it's going to have to give back tenfold what it took from me. And I'm just waiting right now on my blessing. So I'm back now. Well, it hit me pretty hard. But I can see already how things are turning around, how they're changing with what I learned and how it strengthened me, because I was down. I wasn't just down. I was down and out, nothing, not even the smell of a gig or finances. But I got creative. I learned how to live stream, and I refused to just not do anything. So I was playing my first few weeks of doing a live stream. I was like I was on a gig. I was playing 2 hours, 3 hours straight, but I cut that short because it's a little hotter in the studio than it is on a gig.
Right.
So it did shut me down, but it forced me to appreciate the times when gigs are around, and it forced me to also learn some different skills. So I now know how to connect and live stream, and I now know how to look in this camera, then look in that camera, look and just, just gave me a different presence. And I feel different. So when I did get out to do my first gig, I showed I went off.
You went off. You just
And even now, when I get the opportunity to play, I played on a yacht just last week, and I have a wedding coming up at the end of the month, and people are starting to book. I get calls every day, for opportunities to play, and I'm taking as much as I can get. I am preparing to take a short break while I record the project, but it just forced me to be more appreciative and more passionate. So right now, when I play, I just played all the way from in here. So it was hard at first. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I'm bouncing back pretty good. And I can't say I regret, the learning experience. I do kind of miss not being able to pay some bills or be able to have some of the luxuries I was accustomed to. But overall, I'm bouncing back, and I'm excited about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and what's going to happen.
All right. So Travis, I'm going to take one comment and one question. Okay.
One comment, one question. Okay.
Melvin Hayden says he loved Gerald Albright.
Okay.
You know Gerald Albright?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, that's who I just said. When you asked me who was hot out there now,
my head. I must have.
Yeah, I listen. I understand. I kind of figured that, but yeah, Melvin must know you cannot. There's some people. For instance, let me just give you let me just break it down. I play saxophone, and I'm effective. I get done what I need to get done, and people will hire me. And I take pride in what I do, particularly how I do it. But there are some people that are beyond gifted, not because they're better than us. They just maybe put more time in, or they just have more natural at it. There's a lot of basketball players in the NBA, but when you talk about Kobe, you talk about Michael Jordan, you talk about LeBron James, those are the giants of, the sport of basketball. And again, I mean, I can play. People appreciate me. You tell me I'm so great, and I appreciate it. I just would humbly say. But when you talk about guys like Gerald Albright and even Kenny G, I can't knock him. I'm not the biggest Kenny G fan, but I have to respect, what he's put in. Dave Koz, Richard Elliott, those guys, they are like the top of the top. And I don't care how effective I am. I have to recognize that they are in a class that's very different than the average musician, let alone saxophone player. So I would say Gerald Albright is the Michael Jordan and the Prince of the saxophone.
All right, Melvin, you listen to a good man then. I'm going to have to check him out. I've never heard that name before. And that might be why it went over my head.
That's okay. It won't go over again once you hear his music, because he's definitely gifted, skilled, talented. So Gerald Albright.
All right. Gerald Albright. So one question is, if you did not have the choice to play the sax, or if you was doing something other than playing the sax, what would that be?
Counting money on my yacht. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. As far as music is concerned, whenever I play with the band, by the way, I do tons of track gigs where I do backing tracks, but when I get the opportunity to play with the band, I try to make sure that the bass player is on the side of the stage that I'm on. If I'm not, the headliner of that, if I'm not the main, if I'm not leading the band. So I like to stand next to the bass player because I like to feel the bottom, and the bass is usually, it's the root of all of the notes. So I can follow along with the bass. And even as a kid, if I had a choice to get a bass before I picked up a saxophone, I probably would have never touched the saxophone. I was infatuated with the way it sounded, the way it looked, and just the things you could do with bass guitar. So from a music perspective, I would be playing the bass as opposed to the saxophone. But generally speaking, I went to school for law. I wanted to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of analyzing and solving mysteries in cases and, proving things based on facts to get to the truth. So if I wasn't a musician, saxophone player, voiceover talent, I would probably be in. I would have pursued the profession of legal law.
Sounds good. I think you would have been a great attorney. You could have been a comedian as well.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
I'll take your word. Well, I think I have humor, but in terms of actually being as effective as I would want to be, I don't know. I'm not going to say, I'll never say never. Because, one thing I do, I don't sing. Some of my musician colleagues, they sing as well as play.
Mhm.
And I tell them when someone books me and they say, well, do you sing or do you? I'm like, no, I don't sing. But in between songs, I'm usually talking about things that are relevant with the year a song came out, who was in the band, who sang lead. And I'm making a joke about, if it's a love song, I'll talk about, somebody. So I have some humor, but not, the level of a comedian. So no.
You just have enough to make us laugh and keep us captivated to you.
Yeah, just to keep you interested.
And it works. It really works. So you've already told us about what's next for Travis Bridges. You told us about your next project. I would like for you to tell the audience if they were interested into tuning in on Sundays with you. How can they tune in? Where can they find you at? What's your website? And also, if someone wants to book you, how can they book you?
Well, my website is travisbridges.com. My musical website for my radio production is mightyhornmusic.com. So it's travisbridges.com and mightyhornmusic.com. My Sunday night broadcast is on hiatus. I'm just going to put it on hiatus for a little while until I get where I'm going. I'll resurrect that once I get set up with where I'm going. However, as I said, there's a spinoff on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on my YouTube channel. So if you search YouTube, you can find me on YouTube. And if you subscribe, that'll even be better because I want to be able to go live. And I can't go live until I have 1,000 subscribers. And I think I have like 437. And I'm always peeking at it, looking to see I mean, as much as I believe I'll have hundreds of thousands of subscribers in the future, especially what I'm doing and how I believe I'm going to enhance the talk portion. I believe it's going to happen. So the only thing I'm doing live right now is Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time on my YouTube channel, which is Travis Bridges. Easy to find. There's lots of Travis Bridges, but my icon is a round circle with a microphone and a windscreen on it, so you can't miss it. So if you're watching or listening right now, whether it's now or next week or when you get it, please go to my channel and subscribe because I'm jockeying for subscribers because I really do want to be able to go live and not have to be, at home or in the studio or on a laptop or a desktop. I'd like to be able to go mobile. So yeah, travisbridges.com, mightyhornmusic.com is how you can find me. And on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern is where I will do the talk segment called Swim Quim. Say what you mean, play what you mean.
All right. And Travis, after the show, I will tell you because I just discovered how you can go live without having 1,000 subscribers.
You mean from my mobile phone on YouTube?
Yes, sir.
Well, can you give that out on the air or do I have to pay a membership fee? Who do I have to pay?
You don't have to pay anyone. There is no membership fee. I appreciate you joining us tonight. I'm going to assist you with it. I've tried to reach out and get people to assist me and they did not. And I just stumbled across it. So I'll make sure that I share it with you. Okay.
So let me make sure I hear you right. You're saying there's a way to jailbreak YouTube so that I can go live on my mobile.
I'm criminal.
Huh?
You making me sound like I'm criminal. No, there's not a way to jailbreak.
Not you. I'm just saying the process because according to them, you can't do live from a mobile unless you have 1,000 subscribers. So if you found a way around that, I'm the workaround guy. If there's a way around it, I'll find it. And that's probably why it's coming to me right now. Maybe I'm supposed to be able to go live from somewhere else. So good. I will hold on while you give me that information.
All right. And I do have some more comments and questions.
Okay.
A young lady named Jessica, she said, congratulations, praise God. Teresa Fairley Miller said, we are so proud of you, Travis. Miss Nancy Ellerby.
Nancy.
You remember Nancy?
Of course.
She said, yes, we hate those skinny people. LOL.
Especially when they're gonna tell you, well, maybe you should eat some more lettuce.
Uh-huh. And they just eat all day
Right.
long. All day.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
And when I say hate, I don't mean hate like
We
hate,
understand.
like, so yeah.
We understand. Then Daryl Duncan says, do you do virtual or remote recording sessions?
Not a recording session, but I guess now with everything I've learned, I can see how that would work really good with the right interfaces. So I haven't done anything virtual. As a matter of fact, I played on someone else's project a couple of weeks ago, and I actually had to go to the studio, which was cool. But I haven't done a virtual recording session, but I would.
Okay, good. Daryl Duncan was on with us not long ago. He is a writer and producer, and it would be great to connect those dots and network with the two of you. So, Travis, do you have any questions that you would like to ask us before we end our broadcast tonight?
I don't think I have any questions. However, I will make a comment about the spinoff of my Wednesday night live stream. I think the best thing that could have happened to me is I had that prodigal moment where I actually came to myself. And sometimes it takes us getting down so low to where you have no choice but to come up. So if I'm gonna leave anybody with anything, if you're down or have been down, or you will be down at some point in time, just know that there's a blessing in that if you can find your way up. I think it was Les Brown who said, if you're down, if you fall, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And I will say, and I'm grateful to God, I'm gonna knock on wood, that I've had some things to overcome in my life, from childhood. And I'm grateful that I did find my way, and I had quite a few prodigal moments. But at this very moment, this day and time, I'm grateful for the ability to be able to stay focused and concentrate and believe in, the higher power that works within me, to know that it's not purposed for me to be down or to be sad or to be depressed.
Right.
So there is a way. Everybody can find their way if they hit bottom enough, or if they look up enough. You can always find your way out of a situation. So I wouldn't suggest anybody do anything crazy just because you're down. That's the opportunity to find your way out. And we
Right.
can all, it's life is a roller coaster sometimes. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. But staying faithful to what you really believe in your true heart is the best way to overcome anything. And just because it doesn't look a certain way, and just because you don't feel a certain way, if you can do this, you good.
You're good.
So as long as you can do that, there's always a way. So I'm grateful for where I am, and even more excited and grateful for, what's in store for me. I have nothing but the best to look forward to, and I am ready to go. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best success. And I don't care when you call me, I will answer your call and I will be there for you. Okay? I mean that.
Thank you so much, Travis. And I really, really appreciate that. I have great respect for you and what you do. And I most definitely pray that God will just continue to bless the works of your hands, because, here you are, you're a giver. You don't mind giving. I love the fact, again, that you were so transparent earlier, talking about the things that you struggled with, those traumas that you experienced in your own life, and how you were able to overcome those traumas. And one person did ask me to ask you, if you did have some moments when you were down and you were in a dark place, what do you do? And, of course, we would think that Travis just goes to music. He turned on music and listens to music. What does Travis do?
I have a bad habit of cutting fat, literally, kind of sort of like a no nonsense attitude. If I can do something about something, then I will find a way to do something. But there's a time when you can't do anything about it, and you have to be accepting. and this is going to bleed into, let me look at the time. I know I have a little time, so I don't want to go over. I want to say this, and that's a good question. It's very important, Michelle, to be accepting of what is. Our attitude and our ego is I can't even say that word. It's not good. And we have to be able to be accepting of things that we can't change. And we have to be able to have communication and conversations with people and circumstances. You have to be able to analyze. And when you get to the point where there's nothing you can do about a situation, you not liking it is not an option. You know, you have to find a way to be okay with things that don't always feel good. And to answer your question, what I've always done, even from a child, I remember having this attitude. I'll be okay with something if I can't be, if I don't like it, or if it doesn't feel good. I'll just wait for the opportunity to fix it, or to make it a way that's more either convenient for me or better for me. But again, without being long and drawn out any further, being okay with what is and being honest with yourself. When we lie to ourselves, we're not helping anybody.
Right.
But, you know, being honest with the truth, looking at facts and allowing facts to lead you to the truth, there's no reason to stress. There's no reason to worry, because there's certain things you cannot change. And resistance, what you resist persists. So what you lie to yourself about, you're going to get more of it. What you avoid, it will usually come to you and more. It's okay sometimes to be okay. Let go and let God. That's a spiritual thing we say in church, but you know, there's some real truth to that really makes sense, not just from a spiritual way. You know, be okay with what really is, not what you think, not what you feel, not what you believe, not what somebody else did or what someone told you, but analyze things for facts that will lead to the truth. And when you find the truth, only a fool would despise truth and wisdom. So when you find the truth and not how you feel, the truth is not based on how you like it or how you want it. Be accepting of what really and truly is. And that's what I have done. That's what I do. And I will preach that until the offering plate run over. So there you go.
Awesome. Listen, there you have it. Mr. Travis Bridges, all the way from Hollywood, Florida. Had a wonderful time interviewing him tonight. Such a blessing to hear him and see where he's at tonight. And before I go to close out, I would like to say that Miss Shirley Green wanted you to know that God is always going to give you opportunities. And so I had to say that before we closed out. Yes.
He'll make a way of escape.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Shirley. Appreciate it.
Yes. And she's all the way from Louisiana on here listening to you.
No, it's not Louisiana. It's Louisiana.
Louisiana?
Louisiana. She knows what I'm talking about. Louisiana.
I'm looking forward to go down there one day, but I
just like we're not from Laurinburg. We're from Laurinburg. We're from Laurinburg. You mean Laurinburg?
Laurinburg. Yes, Laurinburg, North Carolina.
He's from Louisiana.
Okay, so there you have it, Mr. Travis Bridges. I invite you guys to come back on in just about 10 minutes. Jawan and I are going to do a little after party like we used to do since he's over here tonight, just to do a recap on this session with Travis. We absolutely enjoyed him. And Travis, God bless you. Godspeed to you. And again, if you're looking for Travis and his music, you can find him at travisbridges.com. He says that he's on YouTube on Wednesday nights, and you can also find him there. If you need more information about Travis, you most definitely can inbox me, and I can do the connections of the dots. Thank you guys for joining us. Please like, tag, and share this broadcast. Share it with your family members and friends. And also go over to my YouTube channel, Moments of Motivation with Michelle, and subscribe to something that is really, really good. God bless you, Travis. God bless you all. And y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.